Hi there, my name is Kay Moon, and I'm a twin flame channel and Western astrologer, and this is a video about the new moon in Capricorn for twin souls occurring on January 13th, 2021 at 12 a.m. Eastern Time. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States, please use a time zone converter to find your local time. This new moon in Capricorn, it's a very special one for twin souls because it is the signifier of the end of a cycle. And there have been several lunations kind of back to back that have all had a lot of the same symbology. Cycles ending, the completion of patterns, the completion of a particular chapter in the connection. And this one is part and parcel of those completion lunations. And the reason this one is significant is because of the way this particular new moon sits with in conjunction with Pluto. And I speak about this at length in the general video that, and I think I probably called that video the new moon in Cancer. Apologies, guys. It's the new moon in Cap. The deal here with Pluto conjunct this particular new moon is that Pluto, being the lord of the underworld, the governor of fears and power dynamics and shadow energies and metaphysics, sex and sexuality. The deal here is that this particular new moon is wrapping up a particular pattern of energy between counterparts having to do with those themes. So anywhere in your connection where there has been, fear running the show, sex addiction. Pluto can represent addictions as well. Other types of addiction, or where there may have been an absence of, like a complete fear of physical intimacy, because we are in the physical earth sign of Capricorn, a complete rejection of that part of yourself. These kinds of things are now starting to wrap up as a cycle. Whatever the last chapter was, this next chapter is going to be something brand new. Whatever it was, it is going to be different going forward from here. The new moon has a lot of tension to it. So I'm going to break this down step by step for twins who are in some sort of long-term kind of separation, twins who are in some sort of communication, but not necessarily union, and then twins who are together in unions, because this energy is going to play out very differently for each set. So hang in there with me, because you may find things that resonate for you throughout, but I want to make sure that I address each group because it's going to be very unique for each set of people. The new moon has a square to Eris here. And the new moon has a square to the creation goddess. Okay. And this energy, this squaring energy is surfacing almost as like a last purge, a last call for getting your wounds out, getting your grievances out, airing out your pain points or the places where you just haven't really been able to kind of get on the same page. This new moon is asking you to just once and for all, especially for twins who are in union or in communication, just lay it on the table. Say what you need to say. Whatever the issues are that have stopped you from feeling like the two of you can really move forward on the same page. This is a time where clarity about why you're in pain can come to the surface and give you the opportunity to have productive conversations about it going forward with your counterpart, given the positioning of the counterparts to one another here. This is also a period of time where if you were upset, but you couldn't quite put your finger on why. And so, for those of you who may be hearing about an upset from a counterpart, and it was like, You never told me this. Well, they're telling you now. Um, this may be the first time they've had the correct words to be able to bring forward why they have been, checked out, disengaged, not present, or have in some way been in pain that they or resent. And maybe you felt it, but you just didn't know what it was you were sensing from them. That kind of stuff can come up at this time. If it comes up, it's a good thing. What's happening here as, the counterparts move in harmonious relationship to one another in the sky is an opportunity for us to take any of the energetic bricks that have sat between us and counterpart. This is the opportunity to have productive conversation and start moving those bricks out of the way that have been in the way of true intimacy, true union, true soul connection, true deep spiritual understanding of one another and what we're both here to do. For my twins who are in some sort of long-term kind of separation where there's just been no communication at all for many months or many years even, this is a period of time where you may find that you are starting to feel a degree of clarity about what you needed to learn from your connection in the last cycle, and a degree of increasing freedom from the connection's hold on your capacity to move your life forward. So if you have felt in any way hemmed in, constrained, chained to the last cycle, this is one of those moments. The last moon, this moon, and some of the next moons, new and full, are going to assist you in coming to a place of getting more and more of your power back. And this is both divine masculine and divine feminine, more of your innate freedoms back so that you can step into full service in the world and really rise in your light work and rise in your leadership, because the world really does need you at this time in a way that, I'm sure doesn't need a lot of explaining, but light work is definitely needed at this time in every area, every department, every quarter of life. This from the school system to the health systems to government systems to grocery systems. We need light work everywhere we can get it. So you're going to start to find that more and more of your internal motor and power starts to turn on. Those engines and those wheels start to click and start to move as you're pulled into service, as you're pulled into to step into the spotlight over the remainder of this year. And this is one particular moment in time that really many of you will look back on, and it will be the demarcation point between feeling like all you could do was think about your connection in the last cycle to now feeling like you learned some things that have really empowered you to step into your next chapter of light work and service in the next cycle, in this cycle. So I think that kind of covers all three groups there. Excuse me. We've got some other interesting energies, and I'll break them down kind of one at a time. For divine feminine and masculine, even though it's very similar, they're on similar journeys this year in a way that they just weren't last year. We've got Juno, trine Chiron, and we've got divine masculine Jupiter, sextile Chiron. Both are having the experience of clarity about some of the wounds that have occurred in the past. For divine feminine, these would have been, wounds from some of perhaps some false beliefs things that, you thought maybe were real or were true, or faith that you had that was misplaced. There is some clarity coming in at this juncture around, okay, I see where I had kind of seen, misread, misunderstood certain things about my journey, myself, where I'm at, about love, about relating, about partnership, what it is and what it isn't. There is some clarity now coming forward for divine feminine energies around, okay, well, what is it really? What is the truth, capital T here? For divine masculine energies, this will really end up being more so about your place in the collective scheme of things. It's going to be more about also for some of you, your friends, and the people you've chosen to associate yourself with. And know that we all have feminine and masculine energy. So if you happen to identify with being female or somewhere in between on the gender spectrum, all of this applies to everyone. I'm just breaking it down in overly simplified terms for the human mind to grasp. So, for masculine energies within all of us, there could be some questions about these things. What's my place on the world stage? Who am I in the community? What is my service or my gift? Where am I called to work? What's my calling at this time? And some starting to get some clarity and some insight and some wisdom about the people previously associated with, like, okay, all right, I kind of see here that some of these can't come with me where I'm going. If I'm going to be able to reach my full potential, there needs to be some changes. Aquarius represents change in the people I'm associating myself with, because some of this isn't really serving me. So, and serving what I came to planet Earth to do. And that the recognition of that would have come through some pain and some wounding for both divine feminine and masculine energies. And that's okay. There is wisdom in the wounds if we're willing to look and be present with the wound and the pain long enough. It will allow us to transmute it into power. But in order to do that, we have to be willing to look. We have to be willing to be present. In addition, for the divine feminine, we have some sextiling energy to the shaman's asteroid here. So, this really for the divine feminine is about taking stock of some of where she's been on her journey, where she's been in relationship to, um, the world of relating and partnerships specifically. Who's an ally? Who's not? Who's an enemy? Who's not? Who's got my back? Who doesn't? Who can I count on? Who can't I? Where am I in terms of the kind of relationships I want to have going forward? And what is it that I need to bring to the table if that's going to even be possible? Do I need to get myself financially stable? Do I need to get myself some tools in the arena of communication? Do I need to get myself a new home and stop cohabitating with an ex that I divorced several years ago? Like, whatever it is that you have come to terms with that has hindered your ability to be productive, let me use a different word, to be powerful in partnership. Whatever you've come to terms with has been standing in the way. This particular new moon is going to start to catalyze your willpower to make the necessary changes, whatever they are. And this has been in play for some time, this kind of catalytic energy for divine feminine around needing to do some things different in the arena of relationship in order to have a different result in the arena of relationship. This is a culminating energy of part of a much, a longer cycle that's been with us, I'd say, since about October. But now we're really starting to get the energy of that motor going inside of this boat so this boat can go somewhere. So whatever it is you need to do to have better quality partnerships going forward, some of you, it's about really starting to understand intimacy and getting over or integrating some, maybe sexual trauma you've had that, you've allowed to hinder you from having a fulfilling sexual life. For others of you, it's about really starting to move into a different arena, um, work wise, so that you're around a set of people who actually value you, so that you're not showing up in partnership as a constant sensation of apology or disenfranchisement or resentment because you've spent the best waking hours of your day around people who don't appreciate you, and then you're bringing that home to a partner. Now some of you are going, okay, I get it, I see how this is impacting partnership, I actually need to resolve this and resolve it now in order for me to have a better quality partnership. So much of what's going on for divine feminine energy is about taking stock of where you've been in partnership and where you want to go and what's going to be required in order to get there. We have a square here as well to a conjunction between Ceres and Nessus. There's definitely some mother wounds coming up here for a lot inside of the Divine Feminine Collective. A lot of transmutation of the maternal inheritance of the spiritual line, or the spiritual inheritance of the maternal line, I'll say. Things that you saw your mom do in relationship, things that you didn't see her do, that you needed to see her do, but you're now having to re-give that to yourself. Things that occurred with your mom that, maybe, wounded you in some way or triggered you in other ways. That kind of stuff is going to be coming up during this lunation so that you can A, recognize, and then B, change. So if you see this sort of stuff coming up, know that it's not always going to be about, um, cutting your mom off. I see this a lot. I cut my mom off. Okay, well, that still doesn't solve the problem that the neural pathways are wired around this trauma to show up a certain way. You still have to do the work to rewire the neural pathways. And this particular new moon is going to help illuminate those places where we need to do the work. So hopefully, I've been sharing quite a bit on this channel about resources and tools you can use to start that process. I think the Personal Development School by Thais Gibson and her co-founder is probably one of the best tools you can use. Don't know the woman, never met her. I've just seen her work and the quality and caliber of it for when we have these kinds of childhood wounds that are impacting relating later, friendship, work relationship, romantic partnership, business partnership. These kind of wounds can show up in any significant relationship to us. And that her school, hey, look, just consider me a traffic director. Go over there, get the help. I can tell you where the problem is. I just don't know how to fix it, but I can see she does. Go get some tools. Any of the coaches that I've interviewed in the last year and the Tools for Union playlist, Jillian Ramey, Lee and Sherry, Twin Flame Revolution, Sandra and Alan, any of these people, Morgan and Todd, any of these people who do work with twins to assist you in coming into union with self and removing your own blocks to being with yourself. Any of these people are going to help you at this time. Find someone who resonates for you and get in. Do the work. Wherever you're feeling stuck in the arena of relationship, find your teacher and go for it. One of the fun things about Divine Feminine being in Sagittarius, Sagittarius is the sign of higher education and higher learning. She's going to be here all year. This is a great year to invest in your education around partnership. Allison Armstrong, another great resource. Find who resonates for you and where there's a match between what you need to learn and your current pain points, and jump in. All right. So this particular lunation is speaking a lot to some of the mother and the father wounds for Divine Feminine and how those parental woundings have carried into partnership. For divine masculine energy, there's a whole different game going on at this time, as divine masculine energy is sitting conjunct Mercury and Saturn. This is bringing a lot of communication energy forward for divine masculine energies. And for those of you who, are on your way to union or in union of some sort at this point, this is a moment in time where, for divine masculine energies, if there's something that's been on your heart or been on your mind to say to your counterpart, this is a period of time where probably for the first time you're going to be able to get a really genuine, heartfelt, present response from your counterpart in this energy. This is a period of time where if you've ever felt misunderstood, by speaking up during this window, the likelihood that you will be understood is higher than it's ever been between the divine counterparts. So if in your divine masculine energy, you're recognizing, okay, there's a piece of self-advocacy I need to do here in my connection. There's some type of bringing to the forefront where I have a need that hasn't been met in a long time, or I'm recognizing a need that I didn't even know I had before, but now I know. This is a wonderful time to bring that conversation to the table, if you're already in some sort of communication with your counterpart. For those of you who are not in communication with your counterpart, I want to say that there's a high likelihood this lunation and next lunation, all the way through maybe the second week of February, right around February 10th, there's a high propensity for no communication to suddenly turn into a flurry of communication that seemingly comes out of nowhere. So just be open to it if you're open to being in communication. If you're not open to being in communication, that's okay. It's not always the right thing for everyone, but pay attention to it. Look for the opportunity, look for the openings. If you're the one who's ready to open communication, open it. Because you will find that this is one of the most harmonious periods for that you could possibly have, or that we have had in a long time. But yes, it does take some effort. I mentioned this in the How to Navigate the 2021 Union Window Energy video. This is one of those windows that takes work. If you're just waiting on your counterpart to buzz you out of nowhere, it might be you that needs to do the buzzing. So roll up your sleeves. It's okay. Totally fine. If you're the one who needs to reach out, try not to make that mean anything. If you love and you want to be in communication, then be in communication in love. Okay, so let's see. We talked about the sextile to Chiron, and then we have square Uranus conjunct Mars and Lilith, right? We talked about that. Surprises in the arena of communication that seemingly come out of nowhere. There's that. And then trine the shaman's asteroid, who the divine feminine's also having a conversation with. There is a recognition between the counterparts, both of them, whether you're talking to one another or not. There is at this time in the energy between both a level of taking stock around everything you have been through separately and apart, everything the connection has brought into your life, everything you've learned from it, and where it is you want to go from here. This is a significant moment of taking stock. It's almost like New Year's resolutions came late this year. Because this really is that moment of going, okay, I see where I have been. Now let me ask myself what's possible and where I want to go. And most importantly, what I'm willing to do in order to have that result. Because I spoke about this at length in previous videos, this particular union window, and it's not just union with counterpart, it's very much union with self. This window is going to require some effort, some willingness to not ignore ourselves in places that we've ignored ourselves or abandon ourselves. It's going to take some real willingness to roll up our sleeves and do the work with ourselves and do the work with our counterpart, if counterpart's there to work with. So yeah, it is a really beautiful period of time for twins, I will say. In the collective, it's a very difficult period of time for reasons I spoke about in the Lightworker energy update. Again, my apologies. I know I called that new moon in Cancer. It's actually Capricorn. There is a real need at this juncture for light workers to rise. Whether you are a twin or some other type of light worker, if you resonate with the idea of bringing light and expanding love on planet Earth, this is your moment. The Earth really does need you at this time. So, my recommendation is to step into it. Step into it. Do that thing that has been placed in your heart for you to do. Now is your time. This is a moment designed for light workers to step forward. If you'd like to get a reading with me, the calendar for the second week of February is now open. There are less twin readings available. If you don't see them on the site at this time, it's because most of them are sold out at this point. You don't need to email me. If you don't see them there, it's because they're sold out. Just check back. You can always check back when we get closer to the 15th or to the 1st to find them on the website. But if the personal reading is all you see there, it's because that's all that's available at this time. Beloveds, it's such a treat to be able to read for you. Thank you so much for liking, watching, subscribing, and sharing. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take great care and bye for now.